Okay, Om Namo Shivaya.
Namo Shivaya.
This is the first time that we are actually doing a public presentation on the book. And so we'll have a dialogue on some of the main topics. Later this evening, I'm going to talk about the history of human thought and how human beings have thought about the nature of existence, how did the universe emerge, and everything that as human beings we wonder about. Is our planet the only one that has life? Are we an accident? Is there any meaning, purpose? What is the meaning of death? Is there a divine intelligence? And if there is one, why should it care about us? Are we just a speck of dust in a minor planet somewhere in the junkyard of infinity? It is a junkyard now. Space is a junkyard. Or is something else going on? So what we did, Menas and I met in 2009. I was doing a course at the center on Yoga Vasishtha, and he was there. And then we became friends, and we've done many events together. And we've traveled
Korea
and other places. We have a long friendship, and we decided to do this book because there is a confluence between the scientific understanding of where we are going and the great spiritual traditions, the wisdom traditions, and what Aldous Huxley called the perennial philosophies, not just in the East, but in the West too. People like Walt Whitman and Emerson and Thoreau and so many others. And then, of course, some of the greatest German philosophers like Wittgenstein and Heidegger. They've all, Kant, even Schrödinger, Wolfgang Pauli, Niels Bohr. They were great thinkers. It's only recently that science has become very dogmatic and very restrictive and very technologically oriented and not looking at the bigger picture. So what I thought was, we'll start with the 9 mysteries that are here in the book. And I will ask Menas certain questions. He'll respond. I'll respond back. And then I'll cover some of that material, and then maybe we can have questions. Otherwise, there'll be plenty of time for questions tomorrow also. So Menas, right now the current cosmology says that about 13.8 billion years ago, something called the Big Bang happened. And cosmologists and neurocosmologists, they claim that we now have evidence of this through Hubble telescope and all the other the ways we have of looking at the universe, something called cosmic microwave background, which shows certainly that the universe had a beginning, our universe, and that started with the Big Bang 13.8 billion years ago. Of course, when I think 13.8 billion years, remember, we are thinking in terms of Earth time, right? Mm-hmm. I once met an astrophysicist from Italy. We used to call her Galilea. And I asked her, how old are you? She was young, but she said 3. And I didn't realize she was talking in Jupiter time. So it depends where you are, which part of the universe you are when you talk about time. But from Earth time, our perspective, as human beings who measure time in terms of the revolution of the Earth around the sun and the circadian rhythms, 13.8 billion years ago, suddenly the universe was born. And that's called the Big Bang.
Right.
So, of course, it neither was big nor did it bang. It was about this big, smaller than a dot at the end of a sentence. So what caused the Big Bang? Is there a cause that we can ascribe to the Big Bang?
So before we address that question, by the way, thanks Swamiji for inviting us back, and the staff and Swamis. Actually, the theory of Big Bang was proposed by none other than Abbe Lemaitre, who was a Belgian astronomer and also a Jesuit. So you can say that the Big Bang origin itself, the idea goes back to the Bible, so to speak, the Old Testament, as a matter of fact. How do we really know, first of all, that it happened 13.8 billion years ago? We describe in the book that actually we don't know. Way back when I wrote the book, The Conscious Universe, where I actually questioned the idea of the Big Bang, is that you cannot take it all the way to the beginning because everything breaks down. There's no rulers, there's no clocks, there are no human beings for sure, there are no amoebas, there are no ants, there are no planets, nothing exists. So how do we know? No idea. By the way, you probably, if you read the book, you will see that in every one of these 9 mysteries that Deepak will guide us through, the answer is we really don't know. As a scientist, I'm okay with that because I don't have to teach anything. I just say, je ne sais pas, as they say in French. I don't know.
Okay, so to summarize that,
right.
if we go back, if we go back in time,
right.
we end up with what Menas just referred to as the Planck epoch.
Yeah.
The Planck epoch is 10 to the power of minus 43 seconds post Big Bang. So Big Bang happened, and then there's a period 10 to the power of minus 43 seconds, which is the smallest time that you can think of, where everything, as he said, breaks down. There are no laws of physics. There are no laws of mathematics. So not only is it not possible to know what was there from a scientific perspective, it may be unknowable. Not unknown, but unknowable from a scientific perspective. Furthermore, no one knows, and we've talked to many people. Of course, Menas is a quantum physicist and cosmologist, but no cosmologist will say what caused the Big Bang. Right now, there's a theory called chaotic inflation, eternal inflation. I'll talk about it later. But answer to number one question, what caused the Big Bang or what existed before the Big Bang, it's probably, from a scientific point of view, unknowable. Not unknown, but unknowable. Okay. Furthermore, time and space, if we believe in the Big Bang theory, emerged at the Big Bang. So there was no time, and there was no space either. What was there? Well, since all our experiences are in space-time, you're experiencing this event in space and time, our imagination is also in terms of space-time. So what existed before the Big Bang is not only unknowable, it is inconceivable. It cannot be imagined because our imagination comes from experience in space-time. So the second question, why does the universe fit together so perfectly?
I have no idea. Of course, I'm a little bit joking when I say we have no idea, because what we're proposing is really the science of experience or the science of qualia, which of course is familiar to all practicing yogis. So a theory has been proposed, or a principle has been proposed, the anthropic principle. And we won't go too much on that, it is in the book. But basically the anthropic principle says that we are here because we are here. I mean, put in simple terms. And of course, that's what Deepak and I discuss in the book. But the anthropic principle is still very mysterious because it does take it further than that. Say, well, it's so curious because everything fits so tinily, so well together, that it must imply it happened because of life and intelligence. but no answer in anthropic principle. What we say, of course, is that it all fits together because the punchline in every one of these chapters is consciousness drives the whole thing. It's fundamental consciousness that drives the universe.
I remember I had a debate, some of you may have seen it on it's on the internet, with militant atheist Richard Dawkins, who's an Oxford professor. And I mentioned Freeman Dyson, who's a very prominent physicist in Princeton University. He's actually now over 90 years old.
Yeah.
And he's one of the last contemporaries of Einstein. And, he's what we might say these days an emerging theory of panpsychism, which means everything is conscious in the universe, from rocks and minerals to atoms and so on. He had a book called Infinite in All Directions. So I quoted Freeman Dyson, and Dawkins was very upset. He said he could not have possibly said that atoms are conscious. So afterwards I wrote to Freeman Dyson and I said, I read in your book that you say that every quantum experiment forces the atom to make a choice. Did I quote you correctly? And he said, there are 3 riddles that have occupied my entire life, 3 riddles. I don't know the answers to these riddles. The first riddle is the unpredictable movement of atoms. Unpredictable, not random, unpredictable. So that's a very fine distinction. Random means inherently random. Unpredictable means I don't know what they're up to. Like if I go to Grand Central Station and see everybody's going here and there, it seems totally random, but each person is going somewhere, right? So he said that the unpredictable movement of atoms, maybe it's purposeful, but I can't tell. Number 2, a universe that is fine-tuned for life and mind. The universe is fine-tuned for life and mind. And number 3, our own consciousness. He said, I have no answers to any of these riddles, but I think they're connected somehow. So that's coming from one of a very prominent physicist of our time, that the fine-tuning of the universe is a problem for atheists. There's another way to look at it, and that is that there are no parts in the universe anyway. We're just looking at a single wholeness of activity, and we take snapshots of it and we call it a part. If the world is quantum, which means basically protons, electrons, neutrons, and subatomic particles, why does it look like this?
So, in fact, it's even more than that, or worse than that, because in quantum field theory today, or in fact even in classical theory, quantum theory, classical quantum theory, what we call the orthodox quantum theory, the particles don't exist until an observation is made. Richard Feynman, in fact, said that particles don't even have properties. They don't even exist until you make an observation. There are no such thing as electrons until you make an observation. So what does exist? An infinite set of possibilities described by the wave functions. So it's all a wave reality. That's the quantum reality, it's a wave reality. But as Deepak said, it's not ocean waves, it's not electromagnetic waves. It's waves of possibility. Where do they exist? Does it make sense to talk about possibilities without having conscious beings to examine the possibilities? Imagine an empty universe of dead matter. Will you talk about possibilities? Who would ask the question? The cosmic being, of course. Yeah, the universe is quantum. And the biggest mystery is, how does a quantum universe come out to appear as a classical universe? And the great traditions, particularly in the Hindu East, do answer that question a little bit. How can it be that it comes out of this vast wave of possibilities, and now it's an actuality? We're an actual presence here. We're not a wave of possibilities, but we came from a wave of possibilities. That's the quantum universe.
Okay, so the remaining questions, which we won't go through now because we can
tomorrow.
come back to them. Do we live in a conscious universe? How did life first begin? Does the brain create the mind? Does the mind create the brain? Some physicalist scientists say the mind is what the brain does. And we say sometimes that the brain is what the mind does. Or maybe they're both complementary aspects of a deeper consciousness. So we'll discuss these, and then the last part of the book is about qualia science. Let me now take you through a summary of the questions. And it looks like there are no answers to any of these questions, right? From a scientific point of view, there are no answers.
Sorry, guys.
It looks like there are no answers. But I would encourage you to read, since you have the book, you do read the 9 questions, because this is how human beings have thought about the universe, and this is where we are in the scientific universe. But remember, science is a system of thought, just like philosophy is a system of thought. Religion is a system of thought, right? Theology is a system of thought. But if you don't know where thought comes from, then how can you rely on any system of thought? So maybe no system of thought is adequate. No system of thought is adequate to give us an explanation. Neither religion, nor science, nor theology, nor philosophy. Only yoga, because yoga means going to the source of thought.
Right.
Okay, and so maybe the scientific model is not really the accurate model, because it's just another story. Now, why do we believe in the scientific story? Because we can make jet planes, and we can make the internet, we can land men on the moon, we can create a rover and send it to Mars. So we said the science must be right. It's right in certain ways of manipulating experience without actually knowing how experience comes about. So your computers work, your transistors work, email works, internet works. But what does it mean? So if you go to Wikipedia, you'll find that there are many interpretations. Interpretations are sets of statements which attempt to explain quantum mechanics beyond the recipes it gives for performing calculations. Hence the expression, which is a real expression in physics these days, shut up and calculate. The calculation works. What does it mean? Well, if you go to Wikipedia, these are the interpretations.
25, right? Something like that.
Something like that. What does that mean? If there are 25 interpretations, which means we have no idea what's going on, right? Come back to the same thing. We have no idea what's going on other than the calculations work. The calculations are mathematics. Where is mathematics? Where is mathematics? Mathematics is in consciousness, isn't it? So, again, consciousness you can't get away with it, right? If you say, okay, what is life? You say, it's, ask a regular biologist, what is life? They'll say it's biochemistry. You say, what is biochemistry? It's chemistry. Okay. What is chemistry? It's physics. What is physics? It's quantum mechanics. What is quantum mechanics? It's mathematics. What is mathematics? It's in consciousness. I can't see how you can get out of it, right? So here we are. Until recently, the Copenhagen interpretation has been the most popular, but recently many words theory and metaverse theory have gained popularity. Now here's the problem. None of these theories tells us how we experience reality, right? So first, what's the universe made of? Simplest answer, nothing. But then, why does it look like this? Why do I have this? None of these theories explains that. None of them. And this is called the hard problem of consciousness by scientists. So if you go now again, you Google, and you say, what are the most unanswered questions in science today? The first open question in science is this: what is the universe made of? And the answer is nothing. Then why does it appear like this? That's the hard problem of consciousness. So if you believe that your consciousness is a product of the brain, you have a serious problem. Why? Because now you're looking at me, right? What's coming to your eyes are photons. Photons are massless, they're invisible, they have no dimensionality to speak of.
No mass.
No mass. They go into your eyes, they cause a chemical reaction in your retina, they send an action potential which is called an electrical current, basically. And in your brain there's chemistry, and you experience this. How? How does an electrical current going to your brain and creating electrochemistry gives this experience? And this is not only true of vision, it's true of everything. So if I touch you like this, what's going to your brain is an electrical current. What's happening in your brain is electrochemistry, but you experience this. Or when you taste something, all it is chemicals. All it is chemicals, which again sends an electrical current to your brain. When you say, wow, strawberry, mangoes. Or you smell something and you say, this is a beautiful rose. But what's happening in your brain is just the same thing, electrical current. So do you get this? That this is the hard problem of consciousness. How does the brain create experience? How does the brain create experience? So how do we solve it? And we solve it through yoga. Okay, because what yoga does, if you read yoga, any text, but even Patanjali or anyone else, yoga is the progressive quietening of the mind till it gets to the source of thought. And what is the source of thought? It's awareness. That's it. And what is the excitation of awareness, which we call vrittis? The excitation of awareness is thoughts, is emotions, is perceptions, is sense experiences. So we turn the whole thing upside down. We said that scientific model works to do calculations and create technology, but it does not tell us what reality is. Reality is consciousness and its excitations, or you can say modifications that are thoughts, experienced as thoughts, images, feelings, emotions, and sense perceptions.
And these are the qualia.
These are the qualia. And the word qualia means qualities of consciousness. Okay, so everything that we call experience is a quality of consciousness. Now I want to take you a little bit further down the rabbit hole here and say, let's imagine now, see we are storytellers, so we tell stories. And we tell stories because we have language. But experience is prior to language. I hope that's clear. You know, there's a baby, and the baby has no language yet. It's having experience, right? So let's say there's a baby, and you say, it's looking at this. Does it have any concept of a book? But it is having some experience, right? What is the experience it's having? Well, I have to use words, but it's having the experience of something that we call blue, right? But the baby has no idea that it's called blue, but it's having some experience. It's having an experience of color. It's having an experience of shape. It may be having an experience of texture. And it has experience of smell and taste, the mother's milk, whatever, but it has no concepts. So experience is prior to concept. Does everybody agree? Yes or no? Okay. So now we come along and you say, you know, baby, your name is Deepak. You're a Hindu. You're Indian. And you're a male. This is your body. This experience you're having is your body. And that other experience you're having, which are thoughts and emotions, that's your mind. Okay, so now we create a construct around experience called mind, body, and that, by the way, that's the universe. What was the baby having before that? Just itself, and experiencing itself as colors and shapes and forms and textures and smells. But now concept comes along. There's a body. There's a mind. There's a universe. When all there was consciousness fluctuating as its own self into the experience of form and phenomena. So what I'm saying is, there's no such thing as a body. There's no such thing as a mind. There's no such thing as a universe. These are human concepts, okay, that we reinforce. And we create models, and they're useful. Tomorrow we can talk about enlightenment, but enlightenment is going beyond all concepts. Reality cannot be a system of thought. Reality can only be the consciousness and its own fluctuations, which we call mind, body, universe. The human story of the human universe. Human universe. What we're experiencing is a human universe, not a mosquito universe, not a dolphin universe, not a crocodile universe. They have their own universes. But yet we can sometimes communicate with these creatures because there's a leaking of consciousness. You know, the dog in the White House, Bo, did not know that Obama was the President of the United States, or it was sitting in the Oval Office. No concept. But if Obama treated him well, then he treated him well too. So there are certain experiences that leak from person to person. So we have personal consciousness, we have collective consciousness, we have species consciousness, and we have trans-species consciousness, and ultimately we have pure consciousness, which is all possibilities, right? So the only reality is pure consciousness, which is formless. And because it is formless, it's infinite. It has no location in time and space. So don't think of infinity as stretching out in all directions forever, or eternity as time going on forever. It's spaceless, it's timeless, it's not in time. But without it, there would be no experience, because experience is actually its own excitations, what we call vritti, if you know the word, vritti. The vritti is the excitations of consciousness. The rest is a story.
That we put together.
That we put together. In the deeper reality, there's no body. Which body do you have? You had a body of a baby, you had a body of a teenager, you have a body of an adult, you have a body of an old man. Which one is yours? What we call the body is right this moment the experience of sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. It's not the same body that I had yesterday or 2 days ago, because it didn't have the same thoughts, didn't have the same images, didn't have the same knowledge, didn't have the same appearance. So this is another photo. It's the photo of the inconceivable formless reality, without which there would be no form, there would be no phenomenon. Everything that has a form, it actually, if you look at it, it's a phenomenon. Okay, what's the phenomenon? Vritti. And what's the phenomenon? Where is it coming from? Consciousness. Where is it going? Consciousness. All there is existence and awareness of existence. So when we say Sat, Chit, Ananda, Sat is truth, Chit is consciousness, Ananda is the undisturbed consciousness, which as soon as it gets disturbed, it creates this experience. The rest is a story. Mind, body, universe story. So here's something that we need to understand. What's the most common word we use in any language? Okay. So right now, if I asked you, where are you? Please raise your hands. So I is somewhere here, right? And not I is somewhere there. So where is I in here? Can you find it? If I go inside your body with a CAT scan or a microscope, is there somebody there that says I? Can't be found. So if I say, where are you? You say, I'm here. Where am I? Over there. Which means you take yourself to be this body-mind. But the body-mind itself is an experience in I. Right? What is the body-mind? It's the vrittis in I. So I is not here. This is in I. This is the fatal flaw of all reasoning, that I am somewhere in the body when in fact the body is in me. I'm somewhere in the mind when in fact the mind is in me. I'm somewhere in the universe when in fact the universe is in me. And that me can't be found. So it cannot be in space-time.
So it has to be universal.
It has to be universal. It has to be universal. And then what we conceptualize that, I, is here. It's a concept. You're seeing this. Where are you having the experience of this? Somewhere here, there's only chemistry. Where are you having the experience of blue? Or shape, or the sound of my voice? Don't say here. Some people say, I'm seeing you here. Well, your eyes are 9 centimeters by 9 centimeters. Actually, 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. They're 9 centimeters apart. By the time light goes into your eyes, it goes through your lens, it inverts. If there is some seeing happening in the retina, you should be, and the retina is curved, by the way, so you should be seeing two of me about this size, 9 centimeters apart. It's not happening. When you say it's in my brain, well, how do I fit inside your brain? How does this room fit inside your brain? How does the Milky Way galaxy fit inside your brain? So, there are people who say this is called naive realism, that we mistake our experiences for reality, when in fact our experiences are just our fluctuations of the self to itself, appearing as space-time, causality, matter, energy, whatever. Where is I? The I of experience is non-local. It's not in space-time. The body is an experience in space-time. The mind is an experience in mental space, whatever that is. Okay, thoughts, images. But all of this is happening in consciousness. So what is consciousness? Consciousness, and I'll use Rupert Spira's definition, but you can define it many ways. Consciousness is that in which experience occurs, in which experience is known, and out of which experience is made. So experience of the body is made out of consciousness. Experience of the world is made out of consciousness. In what form? As sensations, as sense perceptions. So you cannot separate this from the seeing of this. And you cannot separate the seeing of this from the witnessing awareness in which that seeing is happening. And you cannot separate the witnessing awareness as the I of all experience, including this body-mind, that body-mind, all body-minds, all knowers, all modes of knowing in all objects known. We are a species of consciousness.
And we form habits.
And we form habits, and those habits are habits of thinking, feeling, perception, and then stories. Body, mind, universe. But, why is this important? Why is this important is because, and we can go into this tomorrow, but you more than anyone else would know that human suffering is a result of misperception. I am squeezed into the volume of a body the span of a lifetime. I can't hold on to any experience because as soon this experience, can you hold on to this experience? It's over. 10 o'clock, it's over. Finished. Where's yesterday? It's over. Where's this morning? It's over. Where's 5 minutes ago? It's over. Where's 1 second ago? It's over.
And where's tomorrow? It's not even there.
Where's the next minute? It's not there right now. So all there is presence and experience in presence, and everything else is a story. Wittgenstein said it. He said our life is a dream. We are asleep, but once in a while we wake up enough to know that we are dreaming. And what do we wake up to? We wake up to the presence of awareness in which the experience is happening. So right now, as you're listening to me, just turn your attention to who's listening. So consciousness is the presence in which experience is happening. And it is not in time. Only the experience is in time. And even that's an illusion. Because there's no time. It's just bubbling up in the presence of being. So if I just say, stay there for a moment, stay in being for a moment. It's timeless. Different body, different mind, different thoughts. They're just fluctuations. No, only being is there. The rest is being experiencing itself as form and phenomena. Okay, so I will now quickly wrap this up. These are all the different theories right now. Eternal inflation, super string, many worlds, M theory, all leading to we have actually no scientific explanation for existence or awareness of existence. There are two things, existence, whatever that is. And then the second is awareness of existence. If there was no awareness of existence, then is there existence? How do you know? Maybe they're the same thing. Awareness and existence are the same thing. That is really the meaning of Satchitananda. Truth, Chit, knowing. The knowing element in every experience. And then undisturbed, and again, Yoga Vishishta, undisturbed state of the universe is pure consciousness, and the disturbed state of consciousness is this, which includes this. This is an object of experience. Thoughts are objects of experience. You're not the object. No object can be you, because the object is just a temporary fluctuation in you. Okay, we say the universe is consciousness and it's human. Our experience is the human universe. So, the book was inspired by our conversations, but in 1930, Einstein met Tagore in Berlin, outside, in a small place called Potsdam. Everybody knew who Einstein was, and Tagore, very few people had heard of him, but he had won the Nobel Prize for his poems, Gitanjali, and he had a big fan in W.B. Yeats, the Irish poet, who actually helped him translate his poems from Bengali to English. And, everybody was interested in this Indian poet who was also a seer, a sage, a rishi, came from a great family, and so Einstein asked to meet him. And this is how we start our book. And the meeting was in Germany, and it was actually reported, small report in the New York Times as well, but elsewhere. And now it's in the archives in Israel, actually, in Einstein's foundation, which we are going to visit and look at the meeting, the actual excerpts of the meeting. But the conversation begins by Einstein says, there is the real universe and there's the human concept of the universe. And Tagore says, no. What you call the real universe is a human concept. Okay? We can only have an experience of the human universe. And so, it seems like Einstein was really brilliant, didn't understand what Tagore was saying, because no direct experience of yoga. Okay, no direct experience of self. All about there, even though he's an amazing thinker. Okay, and in the end he said, my religion is science. Okay, which means science is based on faith, right? Faith of what? Faith of the invisible, without which the visible would not be possible. The invisible is the only reality. Formless being is the only reality. So this then leads to, Menas is working on the mathematics of this. Universe is consciousness. Not the universe is made out of consciousness. Not even the universe is consciousness. The universe is consciousness. The universe is what consciousness looks like to itself as an object of experience, which is generated in consciousness, experienced in consciousness, known in consciousness, and made out of consciousness. And in fact, there's nothing else. Now, if you're religious, you could say, there is nothing other than God. But God not like some dead white male in the sky, okay? God is the source of every experience, every knower, every mode of knowing, every object known. And it's called love. Love transcends species, transcends persons. So again, Tagore said love is not a sentiment, it's the ultimate truth at the heart of the universe. And that's unity consciousness. So this is Aham Brahmasmi, nothing new for you, but when we say you are the universe, you are the consciousness in which you're experiencing what we call mind, body, and universe as a unified activity of itself. So again, Sanskrit Brahman is consciousness and Brahmand is universe. They're the same word. It's also Tattvamasi. You are that, I am that, all this is that alone is. There is only consciousness. There's only the divine. Other species don't have concepts like I have a body, I have a mind, but the eye of experience is there, right? The eye of experience is there. We can talk about that tomorrow. Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you.